Morocco have proven themselves as an outstanding defensive unit across this World Cup. They've conceded just one goal from the 4 games that they've played, with their performance against Spain nothing short of sensational. Morocco's resilience against Luis Enrique's side is significant and may just be the way to beat high possession teams at club level. The question is, how has Walid Regragui made Morocco so defensively sound, and will this approach work against Portugal? Having clocked up an average of around 76% possession across this tournament, Spain were always going to have the lion's share of possession. So Regragui's approach was always going to prioritise his side's shape across the out of possession phase. And they did just that. Morocco stood firm in their own half in a 4-1-4-1 shape out of possession, with emphasis on compacting the midfield. Lining up in a base 4-3-3 formation, it's an easy shape to achieve off the ball. Their main focus was on the aspect of taking the 3 creative outlets in Pedri, Gavi and Busquets out of the game, and they absolutely smashed it. Before the game against Morocco, Spain's midfield played a key part in their sustained domination of the ball. In those 3 previous group stage games, Pedri averaged around 86 passes per game, Busquets around 65 passes per game, and Gavi averaged around 38 passes per game. We already knew that Spain's highest concentration of play occurred on the left, followed by the central areas of the pitch. But just like in the game against Germany, we saw Gavi completely marked out of the game. Gavi completed just 17 passes in 63 minutes against Morocco, whilst Busquets was also hampered. The 34-year-old completed just 66 passes against Regragui's side in 120 minutes of play. For context, in the previous game he completed 67 passes in 90 minutes versus Japan, a sign that Morocco's plan worked, with Busquets also marked out of the game. So we know that Spain's midfield was deeply restricted throughout the game, but how did the Moroccans pull off such a feat? Well, lining up in their 4-1-4-1 system out of possession, they concentrated on taking Busquets out of the game. You can see here he gets locked in this opposing diamond, and it's worth noting that this is right at the start of the game. Whilst the Moroccan striker restricts himself to making sure that Busquets doesn't get the ball, the 2 central midfielders run at the respective centre-backs on the side. Looking slightly deeper, Morocco had Soufiane Amrabat as a defensive midfielder, someone who could provide further security across the width in front of the defence. If one of the 2 central midfielders ran at the opposing centre-back, he could also mark with his cover shadow. And if the opposing central midfielder moved out of the covering shadow, he could be run at by Amrabat. Whenever Morocco had the ball, they put Spain under pressure in the possession phases through overloading in a compact manner. This created spaces again and again, but they were always able to close them down through a clear distribution of tasks and good defending overall. It's this aspect of compactness throughout the 4-1-4-1 system that inevitably prevailed for Morocco, who are now through to the quarter-finals for the first time in their history. The question is, will it work against Portugal? Well, if the side are to use this same approach of sitting in a mid-block, they will indeed make life difficult for Portugal, who will inevitably dominate possession. Portugal have played their best football though, having had less of the ball. We saw it in the 6-1 demolition job of Switzerland last time out, in which they had just 48% of possession. Implementing a similar philosophy to that of Brazil, in which they look to draw teams out, you'd expect the side to make the game fast-paced and end-to-end, and be prepared to give up some possession proceedings. Against Morocco though, if they're to use this style, that won't be the case, and you'd expect Portugal to return back to that mark of around 60% possession as they look to break through the mid to low block of Morocco. Ultimately, this will play into Regragui's hands, and Morocco will continue to rely on their counter-attacks to get a goal or 2. Now, if Morocco are to come out all guns blazing, the game will be end-to-end, which will ultimately suit Portugal down to an absolute T. So to conclude, yes, Morocco should implement this same game plan against Fernando Santos' side if they want to reach the semi-final of the World Cup. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a like if you'd like to see more videos like this. And also, don't forget to check out totalfootballanalysis.com for more esteemed football content for the thinking football fan. Other than that, We'll see you in the next one.